Good evening, traders. So in today's trading session, we're going to be teaching you guys a useful tip when it comes to buying the weakness and selling the strength. This is also very similar to the concept of buying the fear and selling the greed by Warren Buffett. But in today's trading session, it's very important to look into this particular situation because when you are analyzing option premiums, you want to try to get the bottom. You want to get the best entry so that way you can maximize your potential reward. Now, this approach may definitely cause a lot of people to get feared, and they may also cause a lot of people to get concerned, especially when the trend doesn't look right. But with our option trading model, we are able to analyze the appropriate entry price, figure out the best time to get in and the best time to get out. We're going to be showcasing a example with you guys on various trades that we've taken today. Now, if you've been watching our content for the past week or so, we've been showcasing to you live profits and live results based on our trading journal and transcript. So let's go straight into it and let's talk about what happened in today's market here. So the market today was fueled by optimism thanks to Trump's comments last night confirming that he wants to reduce the potential tariffs on China. Now, we also had a catalyst with this U.S. Treasury Secretary Besant. I'm not sure if I pronounce it right. I'll call him Scott. And he basically was talking about the whole situation. He mentioned that the tariffs would be destructive for the economy and that the whole trading situation, the synergies has gone completely out of control, right? We're starting to see less imports, and these tariffs are impacting jobs at a very steady rate, basically confirming that it is very unsustainable on having these tariffs. With his input is the reason why Trump has changed his overall narrative. We do understand that Trump, is often changing his tune, and that's the main risk in the market today. Now, going into our trades that we have, the first thing that we really wanted to discuss is our levels. Okay, so our levels that you see right over here, level 1 bullish was pretty much the hard zone over here. Just a couple of points off there, pretty much the top was 54.69, but this is the area where we've noticed a lot of struggle, and this is where we pretty much want to capitalize profits. On Twitter, I mentioned that buying the fear would be the main thing. So what we did here is that we told everyone to consider getting calls at this particular moment on our Twitter feed. So in our Twitter feed, we mentioned that SPX had to get above that level 1, then it could be potentially blue skies. And we mentioned that when it's at the lower WAP, this was a pre-market high zone where the SPX calls are at a discount. Okay, so we spoke about that. This was the potential entry point on getting you. We saw a little bit of rejection here, and this was the optimal time to get into that particular trade. So what we did here is how we started our day is we basically, that was yesterday, but today, let's go into today's trades. So we had amazing intraday trades. Okay, we first started our day off by placing an order to buy Tesla 270 call at 1. Okay, now the main reason why Tesla was our focus was because with Trump's change in stance, you want to buy the stocks that are sensitive to the tariff news. So this includes Tesla, the semiconductors, and so forth. Okay, so what we did, and we discussed that entire plan in the morning call. So in the morning call, we already mentioned team to consider Tesla 270 calls, and it could reach around 3. This is our AI that does that. So we looked at the 270 calls waiting for a dip. We also mentioned we're looking at the 110 calls as well. Okay, so the plan is already laid out for the team immediately. Now, looking back at that information here, we placed an order to buy that at the first 2 minutes. We also bought NVDA 110 calls at 0.22 and mentioned that this was dirt cheap. This was another amazing play that we called out as well. We got the fill on the Tesla at 270 calls at 1. Now, going back to our main discussion on buying the fear, this Tesla filled approximately when the stock started to dump. So when someone was seeing this post earnings, many would have thought that this dump would have been more catastrophic, okay? But because we knew that the news was positive for the overall tariff environment, this 270 call was an ideal entry. And we also knew that looking at our map here, because we always map things on our weekly chart, that Tesla 275 is our estimated weekly high. This was a range for earnings, and we didn't want to get any strike beyond 275. You also wanted to make sure that it has appropriate amount of delta to make you a good return. And this QQQ play that we called out was also pre-announced. So a lot of our trades that we give in the room are pre-announced. We said we placed an order to buy QQQ 465 at 90 cents. That QQQ at 90 cents literally was given at 944, which was around over here. So this is where it started to have a little bit of strength. If we go down over here, we got the fill at around 1017. So 1017 was approximately right around here. Okay, so right around here is where we got the fill, just slightly under there. Let me see. Okay, so we got the fill at this particular zone right over here. Okay, so right around the WAP here. Okay, so the reason why we decided to pick that strike in the first place is because QQQ was at our estimated weekly high, and we knew that it had potential to go to 465. It didn't fully break through this zone here, and that had to do because of the news, which we'll talk about shortly. But we knew that the 465s was a good entry at that particular point. So going back on the trade here, we got those QQQs at 90 cents. Tesla hit our standard minimum target. We always let our people know that it hit 50%, consider taking profits. We took some profits on Tesla at 76%, and QQQ hit our standard minimum. Tesla was at 100% at that time. We placed another order to buy ARM 112 calls at 70 cents, which did end up filling. We sold our Tesla 270 calls at 178%. QQQ almost a double, and those NVIDIA calls, they also went to around 60%, and we showcase all of that stuff in real time. Okay, as long as the trade makes minimum 50% in my room, the trade is considered a quality trade, and we always acknowledge that. So these ARMs did fill. They only went to a high at around 30% when we looked at it, right, from there. But we decided to sell it at a small loss only because the news changed everything. So the news started to shift at this particular moment over here, okay? What happened at this point? So at this point here, we saw Trump basically saying that he said that he believes that China and Europe is ripping the US off, right? So this happened around 11 a.m. okay, which was the exact moment where we start to see that dump right over here. So that tweet in itself changed the whole dynamic of the market. Reason being is that this market is sensitive to this kind of news because we need to see evidence that things are pretty much de-escalating. When things start to escalate and he starts to use this terminology, the market starts to freak out and you start to see a little bit of a drop. Yes, we were considering playing puts at this opportunity. I actually was trying to get a meta puts and stuff like that, but we didn't want to force any particular trade, especially on strength, because this is a strength on the downside here. We wanted to see a little bit of a pop before getting into everything. Okay, so using the concept of buying the weakness is selling the strength doesn't always work in this case right over here. You see it, you've seen a continuous dump, but you know, a missed opportunity is better than jumping into a losing one. Okay, so you starting to see premium skyrocket at this particular point. We didn't force it, we tried to get it, and you know, we had 3 perfect call outs on the intraday side again. Like, we tried to get those puts, they were very close to filling actually, but they didn't end up coming, and we pretty much called it a day, and we swung our NVDA calls, right? So interestingly enough, we did swing puts yesterday, which did hurt us for today, but we banked all week, and although our swings didn't work, which was pretty much coin puts and Costco puts, you know, members are still very happy because they ended up green regardless of the bad swings, right? You know, predicting the Trump tweets and all that stuff is very tough, and sometimes we have the mindset going in with every swing that it can be a hero or zero, depending on the entire situation. So that is the key setups that we were looking at today. You know, members are definitely seeing the consistent success. If you guys been watching our videos and seeing the profits in the room, we are seeing that everyone is making money because we pre-announce our trades. Everyone has an opportunity to get in, and the whole plan is always laid out, because having a plan is the key towards your success. So we hope you guys learned something about buying the weakness and selling the strength in today's video, and we hope that this was very educational for you guys. Let us know in the comments below, you know, one thing that you would like to ask, right? If you guys have questions, the comments are there, and I'm always able to answer that for you. But besides that, we'll see you guys in the next market recap, and like always, let's get that money.